Good morning. It's time for Morning Oasis. It is the 6th of April, and we are back. This is our last show this week, focusing in on the ego, looking at the ego. So we'll get into that in a minute. I will let you guys come in. And I wanted to share with you guys, last night I was out at a concert. We ended up, my friend came back from being away, and his flight was all crazy, and it was so funny because he ended up having to be diverted because missing, and he landed in two of my old home cities of where I used to live. So I was like, you should stop here and here, and then you'll have hit like all of my main cities. So we went and saw a band called The Towers, or I think it's called Towers. Really cool band. If you guys haven't heard of them, I really enjoyed it. It's kind of a folk music. It's really melodic and beautiful sounding, and it's interesting lyrics with a lot of interesting concepts behind them, and they just feel really good. A great band to listen to. We have two of our card pulls slots taken for today, so that means we have one more slot open if anybody wants to request a pull. And yeah, so like, I don't know about you guys, but I still am dealing with inflammation. I'm still feeling like puffy. I'm having a lot of lower leg and ankle and feet achy feelings and sensations. You want to do it, Callie? Okay. And I was looking it up, and the Schumann resonance, at least in the California region, so my part of the world, was high. It's been spiking. It's been going from between 30 megahertz to over 109 megahertz over the last week on a daily basis. It's constantly spiking. So that's the vibrational frequency of the earth itself, which is like makes it feel like we're standing on a shaker plate. So a lot of people are talking about struggling, feeling like they can ground, feeling like they can be grounded, feeling a little bit like floaty. And the other thing that people are struggling with, good morning, Sue, is this sense of like everything being shaken up to the surface. So imagine, how when they go mining, yeah, your ankle's killing you. Yeah, ankles are really going to be having the most problem because an ankle joint is kind of like a floaty joint, right? It's this joint that floats over the bones of the foot, and it's designed to move in all these different directions. And so it's constantly adjusting to this new frequency that's coming through. That's going to cause a lot of ankle problems and pains. So yeah, when you think about a mining operation, they run all the debris down this belt, right, that has different size graded holes, and then they shake it, and the belt is constantly shaking in motion so that the stuff all settles, right, so it doesn't, everything gets shook up, and all the gold and things like that will shake down, and the larger debris will stay above the grade. So that's kind of what's happening to us right now. We're being shooken up. And as the earth is transitioning more and more and shaking us up, we're having debris come to the surface. So you're also going to not only be finding physiological problems happening right now, but you're going to be having emotional problems. And by problems, I just mean opportunities to address and look at belief systems, feelings, patterns of behavior, patterns in relationships. All of that stuff's going to be coming to the surface. In addition to that, we're also having all these alternative timelines coming into resolution. I'm starting to see more and more people posting that I trust and follow talking about this and talking about this concept. So it's definitely happening on a larger scale, not just to me or in my experience. So if you're starting to feel like I've been doing this before with this person, or I felt this way before with this person, or having dream memories. I've told you guys about a few different dream memories that I've been having and experiencing, where it seems like a whole lifetime has been led in this short sleep period. So that's also happening right now. I'm hearing more and more about that for people. More connections coming through too. Yes, that's another thing is I'm hearing from people that they're having more guidance connections. They're having more galactic connections. One of my students was even telling me about how he's been going into inner earth and meeting, our guardians that are down there, doing the work of helping transition Gaia, helping support on a more global scale. Good morning, Yvonne. So it is definitely, everything is coming more and more active right now. Even people who are not interested in the awakening process, who are not actively seeking that process, are starting to awaken. I'm having friends contact me going, okay, I guess you're not totally crazy, but I'm curious. I'm just curious, but don't overwhelm me with that stuff, right? So we're having a lot of that stuff come to the surface right now, as well as people's gifts activating on a much more amplified level. So some students are contacting me, and they're one of the students she's reading energy and she's reading guides. She's seeing who other people's guides are by feeling them and sensing them. Another friend he's being his experience with some individuals is being amplified, and he's being called into service in a different way. Right, so we're being called into our work. Let's see, Yvonne says Jesse was talking to an inner earth Aryan about helping him with water. Yeah, so we're being called to work in different ways. So if you're starting to feel an impulse, feel a drive, feel a draw, this is part of that alignment. And it's also an opportunity for you to step more into the flow. Step into the sequence of what you've set up, right? So we've talked about that before, that we're on a great scavenger hunt to uncover who we came here to be. We had our lives led us up to this point. Everything about our lives prepared us for this point, and now we're going to start embodying that. Holy crap. I swear to God, it is like gray skies outside, you guys, and I look like I'm like a light. That's crazy. So it is very much so happening right now. This is what the energy is. You are not crazy. You are not losing your mind. You are not hearing voices because you're schizophrenic. You're hearing guidance. You're getting this information. So just relax and ease into it. Just ease into it. It's okay. Yeah, gray skies, it's interesting. Yeah, yesterday was an interesting day too. The sky, today at least I can see variance in the gray. Yesterday was a flat gray. It just looked like a void. I was telling my friend, like if we were in an Outer Limits episode, we would just be like in the gray skies. We would have been taken to a void. Hi, Justine. I see that you're on, so I'm going to go ahead and pull your card for you. I know that you have things going on. I had no idea the extent of what you had going on there, and I'm so sorry. I know that's hard, but it's also a beautiful opportunity right now to be able to serve your father and your family in another way. We're going to finish out this week with the Galactic Heritage deck, since we started with that, and I'm just loving it. I would love to go gem digging with you, Yvonne. I would love that. I would love that. Well, we don't, but you know what? I'll see if I can make room for you, Yvonne. Let's see, Justine, let's go ahead and do this pull. And that's another thing, you guys. A lot of health issues are coming up. They're escalating to the point where no longer can they be held in. So people who are ready to pass, or who are in any way struggling with this transition, or are not prepared to transition into the next density of expression, and are still learning those lessons of the third density, which is, unity and balance of the polarity. And that doesn't mean polarity will disappear, but it means recognizing that the polarity is what it is, right? Owning it, allowing it, not releasing it. Somebody asked me about that the other day. Why is there still polarity in the fourth density if the third density is about learning about polarity? Well, just because we know about it doesn't mean it goes away. It means that we begin to master the ability of it, right? So think about when we started doing in this density. At first, all we could do were line drawings on a cave wall. And then we learned how to make three-dimensional drawings and continue to expand in that, the same way we do with film, right? We started with just some straight black and white imagery that didn't have sound attached to it. Then we start to learn more and more and then master it. But first we have to understand the concepts that are behind it in order to be able to master it. So it's not that we're releasing third density polarity, we're transitioning into fourth density understanding and usage of polarity, if that makes sense. Yeah, so you guys both, neither of you got a notice. Interesting. It's interesting as the show's kind of growing, and like I see, it tells me there's only 6 people on, but I've already heard from more than 6 of you. So clearly, Facebook does some very interesting things. Gypsy is all over the place right now. So, okay, Justine, your card pull. Let me look it up. 55 is the card number. This is Orion, fusion and magic present. I love that picture. The Orion energy, deeply polarized, went through a dramatic healing process in which those polarities fused together to create a powerful energy that fueled their society's transformation. Wow, light is crazy. There we go. Whenever 2 forces collide within us, it creates a process of fusion that releases an intense energy for manifestation. This is the basis of what we call magic, the fusion of 2 opposite energies that are harnessed and directed in a desired way. This is why it's important to embrace both the shadow and the light sides within us. We then create magical transformation. Embrace your abilities as a magician. I'm not sure exactly who I have visiting right now, Jesse, but something is in the house for sure. This card refers to the era of Orion history in which polarity conflicts were beginning to heal. It was a volatile time that contained many miracles and transformations. Imagine taking 2 very powerful magnets and making them repel each other. As you move the magnets closer together, despite their resistance to each other, energy coalesces in between the magnets and becomes more pressurized. If the force that brings the magnets together surpasses the resistance, the energy created initiates a type of fusion that collapses resistance, reverses poles. This creates rapid integration. This is what happened in Orion. These energetic principles are the basis for certain forms of magic. This type of integration cannot be forced or controlled. It usually happens during a time of great resistance. This card may be coming up for you because there's something you're resisting in your reality. Eventually, you will be forced to surrender to the powerful force of energy guiding this transformation. The card may be referring to a past life or a present situation. This is a powerful card of transformation. Hi, Martina. Good to see you. Hi, Shauna. No worries about running late. It also contains a warning about your own resistance to change and growth. If you continue to resist, be ready for lots of intense energy and chaos around you before transformation can occur. If you wish to avoid that chaos and intensity, simply let go and flow with the energy. Even if you think it's taking you somewhere you don't want to go, it's possible that the flow is taking you somewhere that you need to go. Okay, so that's definitely what we're dealing with today, you guys, and that's perfect. That's what I wanted to talk about today, and where I wanted to take this whole kind of concept of that struggle with the ego into an acceptance, an allowance, and allow that resistance energy to kind of propel us into a better space. So, let's see. That was Justine. And I will do Martina. I haven't seen you come in, Martina, but you're welcome, Justine. You're welcome. And you're in a powerful place right now. Santa Fe experienced some deep, deep trauma there, right? The conquistadores were not nice when they came. They were not good to the people there. And that area up there, the Four Corners, is a coming together of many tribes. So there's a lot of energy there that you can help tap tap into to help you with those parts of yourself that are resisting this big transformation that you're going through and that your family is going through. All right, so this one is for Martina. Interesting. So Justine's card was 55. Martina got card number 5. Just little synchronicities. And this is Andromeda, fluidity, parallel. There we go. The nature of consequence is to be fluid. Oh, excuse me. The nature of consciousness is to be fluid, to flow with the natural currents of the universe. But life in a physical body often causes us to be rigid, whether in beliefs, actions, or emotions. Andromeda consciousness is very fluid also. You know how to be this way innately as well. Take some time every day to connect with the Andromeda energy and practice going with the flow. See how your life changes when you don't try to control your reality. This isn't about becoming a victim. Let yourself surf the universal energies instead of trying to control it, and see what happens. To understand the concepts of the Andromedan reality is to recommend you. Oh wait, hold on. It is recommended that you read the commentaries for other cards. I'm not going to read those. Of particular importance is to remember one reason why the Andromedans are our teachers, because they offer a contrasting reflection in which we can see ourselves, particularly regarding the human qualities of rigidity. Ooh, that's a good one. Resistance and attachment. Continuing with the theme of what the Andromedans have to teach us, this card speaks to the results of embracing change, letting go of confusion and remembering our natural state of fluidity. This inner quality is extremely important because we incarnate into more dense realities, like Earth 3D. We will experience a greater degree of suffering if we do not remember our true fluid nature. If this card appears in your reading, look at the other cards surrounding it to see how it can be applied. Perhaps it's acknowledging this part of your nature, or maybe it's challenging you to find your fluidity as a way to end your suffering. In any case, as planet Earth goes through this transition, the qualities of fluidity in our consciousness becomes an essential skill that will serve to carry us into new paradigms of being. Without fluidity, we will simply be forever stuck in the old, recycling the belief patterns that hindered evolution. The natural state of consciousness is fluidity. Let yourself tap into that truth and know that Andromedan consciousness is there to assist when needed. So again, these are totally in alignment. Yeah, I was just talking about that earlier. I think you hadn't quite come in yet, Yvonne. The Schumann resonance is spiking. We're going between like 30-something up into the 109, 108 something, at least in this California, the West Coast region. So, and at some parts, it's going up into 130. I think that's in the Middle East area. That's a big part of why all of the conflicts in that area are coming to a head, because the frequency is just really stirring it up. So we have a card pull for Kali. This is number 17, and it's Lyran, and it's pushing the envelope. Yeah, please do. That would be great. Thank you. So, a Lyran trait that humans share is the need to push the envelope, to force ourselves to go beyond limitations. This is what drove them and us to always grow more, beyond the laws of physics, beyond current technology, and beyond physical endurance. This can be a good quality when a breaking through is desperately needed. However, this trait can become obsessive and cause us to never rest and always push ourselves into exhaustion. This most likely has been a karmic pattern of yours for many lifetimes. Now is time to let it go. Your self-care is more important than pushing the envelope. This theme refers to the human and Lyran tendency to become single-minded and sometimes ego-driven. Here's where the ego part comes in, guys. While this can at times be an admirable quality, it can also severely hamper our evolution and keep us stuck in actions driven by ego. When we're stuck in these ego-driven tendencies, it becomes impossible to connect with our higher nature and evolve beyond the limitations of ego. On the other hand, this card may be giving you a message to push yourself harder when you're afraid, thus acting as encouragement for you. Do you tend to give your goals up easily? If so, this card may be encouraging you to focus and trust and keep going. Whew. It may also be giving you a message that you can learn and grow quite a bit by going beyond your perceived limitations. Only by looking at the surrounding cards as well as looking honestly within yourself can you ascertain the meaning of this enigmatic card and apply it to your life. This was a major lesson for the Lyrans during this phase of their development, when to push harder and when to let go. Ultimately, when faced with species evolution, it is a delicate balance. Eventually, however, consciousness transcendence happens at the point of surrender. This is a lesson Earth humans are currently facing on the personal and planetary levels. So, oh, good to have you in, Michelle. No worries about being late. So once again, you guys, this is why I love these cards. Every little piece of what we're planning on working on today ended up showing up in these cards. For those of you who these cards were pulled for as individuations, those are really important for you to focus on as an individual. So, you know, that's how you can apply it as an individual, but how we as a collective can see. We're all going through this. This is a collective experience. Yvonne, I'm going to put you down for tomorrow for a pull. Tomorrow is Q&A Friday, you guys. So anyone who wants a pull tomorrow is going to be the day to show up. That's all we're going to be doing is pulls and question answering and all of that stuff. And yeah, for sure, it totally makes sense with you, Kali, especially what you're going through and your current challenge that you just faced. Okay, so we're going to talk about this some more, you guys. When we are trying to figure out this pushing the envelope, right? When we're trying to figure out how am I resisting? Am I going with the flow? Is this time to push harder or is this time to pull back? That's when it's a really good time to use that compass tool that I taught you guys. If you're not familiar with that tool or you don't have a tool like that of your own where you can really get a clear answer of yeses and nos or maybes or any of that stuff, I would love to add you tomorrow, Shauna. That is the time to use those kind of tools. When our ego, when our intellect always drives us to do differently, to see differently, right? That's when we want to be able to pull out of our conscious thoughts this monkey brain that will convince us of different things and just really feel a truth within us, right? That's the most important time to use that tool. And I find it's when people struggle the most with using that tool. So remember that. And so we have two separate messages here about fluidity. I mean, all three were really about stepping into flow, right? And being in allowance and deciding, is this time for me to keep pushing forward or is this time to stop, relax, and allow the current to drive me? So we're really going to work on that and focus in on that today. I wanted you guys to, you know, as an extension of yesterday's exercise, yesterday, what I asked you guys to do was to write down and share with each other and all of us what you have been struggling with in your ego. And then we kind of looked at that and tried to find a way to embrace it. So today, what I would like you guys to do is to share with each other what beautiful and amazing thing you found about that struggle, through that struggle about yourself, right? So start writing out, what did you discover about yourself by relaxing and allowing even this worst part of yourself that you view as a challenge, as a struggle? What did you find that you're actually grateful to know is a part of you? As Daffy Duck would say, ego schmigo. So how is that ego acceptance? How is that acceptance and allowance that we did yesterday in the meditation How is that helping you to find a greater and a deeper appreciation for who you are as an individuation, for who you become, for who you are allowing yourself to evolve into? How is the ego actually supporting you instead of viewing it as your greatest enemy, right? How does allowing it to be a part of you support you? So I want to give you guys a few moments to think about that and to write out what you found. Holy crow, that light is intense. It's like my face looks, you can't even hardly see the lines distinguishing my face. It's really weird. So I'm going to give you guys a minute to do that. I'm going to support you guys in this work with some selenite. Look at that. It's so bright. So here's some selenite. There we go. Just focus in on the energy of this to really be able to see that reflection, to see that more clearly. If you're finding yourself getting lost in yourself and your own ideas, just to release, bring in this frequency of the selenite to help you see the reflection more clearly. Right? Selenite is that goddess moon energy. It's all about seeing the truth behind the reflection, being able to shine more light on something in the dark, right? So lots of those kind of frequencies are in selenite if you're struggling. I'll give you guys a moment. It is very bright, isn't it, Shauna? This looks like a glow stick. Oh, did you? I'm not surprised. I probably would have if I hadn't gone to sleep so late and wasn't so tired. I sleep with my selenite sphere a lot. I love that thing. It's awesome. It's one of my favorite pieces. It was a gift too. It was a great gift. I want you guys to also think about the energy that we pulled up. Yeah. Think about the energy that we pulled up through these cards, right? Magic and fusion. Having these two polarities and bringing them together. Not by forcing them together, but by seeing how they flow into each other and how the greater forces are overwhelming the resistance inside. So this is a hard one. I find a lot of people struggle with finding the beauty in these dark lessons, with finding the awe and the wonder at looking at the self and acceptance of the self. This is one of those places where people struggle the most, and it's part of that inner child work because she believes, those children or he believe that they're not worthy of love, that because of this behavior, because of this action, they're not worthy. You have a slab of selenite in every corner of the house. Wow, Yvonne, that's got to be intense. That just cleared something from me. Excuse me. I have obsidian all around my house. I love to have obsidian. I like my house to be good and grounded. It's already pretty light in here. So I'm seeing that you guys either are taking a little bit of time to write your stuff or you're struggling with it. So perhaps that's the meditation that we'll do today. Okay, so we'll do that. I think we can use the mirror again. Heavy targeting, I get so. Okay. So, Andrea, I realize that my mom and I are not very different since we're all one, and she's even more a part of myself because I came from her. That's a great realization to have, Andrea. And oftentimes the greatest struggles that we have with people are people who are very similar to us because we're seeing in them all these parts of ourselves, and we don't even see them as parts of ourselves. We see them as things that we would never allow to be a part of ourselves. And so then we have to balance that with, oh God, I actually do that sometimes. Sometimes I do that. Another student yesterday messaged me after the show, and she was really upset because she did something that she viewed as only something a really mean person would do. And she couldn't accept or feel comfortable with knowing that she was that mean, right? But then it became a part of understanding. I hope she writes what she learned from that. But understanding and seeing that it doesn't mean that we're mean. It means all of us at points act in ways that feel cruel to others, or we think we're being cruel to others because we would interpret it as cruel if it were done to us. However, when we stop and we just drop into the flow, perhaps that action was a necessary action for the others involved, right? Sometimes people view my truth speaking as mean. One of my friends told me that I was cold and insensitive and arrogant, and what else did she say? And cruel with my assessment of how I viewed something going on. And it was extremely necessary for that shock of that mirror to show her. And I don't view myself as any of those things, but I do see her as struggling with those things, struggling to tap into her emotions, struggling to show compassion and kindness to others, right? Those were all her struggles. But I had to reflect that to her in order for her to be able to see that. So Jessie wrote, after that lady of whom I spoke finally turned left and I was chastising myself for being impatient, it took me forever to turn left, and then I caught the next left-hand lane just as it turned red. When I finally got through, everybody in front of me turned into the McDonald's drive-thru, which was where I was headed. And after sitting in that line, I can't read the rest of it's not showing me the rest of it. So you got a taste of your own medicine, right? So you judged her for taking too long, for not seizing the opportunities, and then suddenly you were put in the position of, are you going to seize the opportunities? Oh yeah, it looked like a long time for you, but you can't tell how fast they're coming, right? So you got a dose of, okay, how would you handle this? And that happens also when we make a judgment. After finally get lined for my food, I missed the next left turn signal at the last second. Then I hit the right turn point just as the traffic began to flow through the intersection. Thinking I was finally done with traffic, someone pulled out right in front of me just before I got home and drove 20 miles under the speed limit. Yeah. So Callie wrote, I accepted negative impulsive behaviors as part of me. Hard to accept it at first. They are a part of us. Just as much as we have positive impulses, we're going to have those negative impulses. And, I'm really proud of you that you kept and you went through that, Callie, because I know that is hard. That was a really hard thing for you to follow through on. I know you wanted the support, and it was important for you to see that you are your greatest support. So when people rely on external resources to support them, they're going to have those external resources not be available to them, and they'll have to learn how to do that for themselves. That's a really important lesson, you guys. That's one of the reasons that I discourage people from just doing session work and rather than doing learning of their own work. That's why I built the programs so that you guys can learn how to do this stuff for yourself, learn how to be your own guidance, learn how to connect into your higher selves, learn how to work on your energy, and most importantly, learn how to ground into the creation. Because the grounding into this creation is what you're here to do. If you could have affected the creation as powerfully as an energetic body, you wouldn't have birthed in. But we all birthed into the system because this is where we can create the greatest impact, is as a physical being. We can get guidance, we can get ideas, we can get support from these energetic beings that are around us, but we cannot change the system from outside of the system. We have to do it from within. So that's going to be a lesson that's going to be continuing to come up. If you're somebody who constantly seeks external validation, external exposure, external understanding, then you're going to be forced into positions where that's not available to you. That doesn't mean that we can't lean on each other, we can't reflect off of each other, we can't learn from each other, we can't grow with each other, but we must always remember the self is the first and the most important teacher that we have. So a lot of people I know are starting to turn away from other teachings, other practices, other practitioners, and they're really coming into the self right now. So that's a powerful tool. And I want to make sure that you guys feel empowered to do it. So sometimes when you contact me after the show, I'm not going to be available. And that's part of why. I give you all these resources in these shows that you can use so that you can do this work for yourself. So it's a big part of why I'm not as available as I used to be online. This is my service work, being here for this hour with you, devoting this hour to you guys as well as to myself, to our collective growth, and now you guys get to show up to do that as well. You can do that for each other, but most importantly, you can do that for yourselves. Thank you, Yvonne. That's beautiful. You're welcome. You're welcome. I need this as much as you guys need this, honestly. Okay, so we've got about 25 minutes left. We'll see how much of that time we use in our meditation. I want you guys to start bringing yourselves into this current state, current place, current time. Well, Jesse, oftentimes, so there's certain people that I do spend more time with, and that's because they're teaching me, or there's work that we have to do collectively. Jesse is going to be doing some big work as he comes forward. So that's a big part of what we talk about, is preparing you for that work, as well as preparing all of us for that work, right? So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Someday it's going to be Jesse's Oasis. I mean, the other Jesse. Okay, you guys. So I want you to come into present. I'm going to take a sip of coffee, make sure you're comfortable, make sure that you're sitting comfortably or laying comfortably. This might be a good one to lay down for. I don't know. We'll see. If you need the visual support, I've got the mirror again. I love working with this mirror. Not only do I love working with it because it's like so symbolic of what we do, but I love creating this infinity tunnel of light mirrors. I love that. Okay, guys. So I want you to start taking a few deep breaths, breathing in this present moment, feeling the air, smelling the air, and exhaling, just releasing yourself from this morning, from yesterday. Breathing in, feeling the temperature, feeling the air coming into the body. And exhaling, releasing. Breathing in, feeling the air come in even deeper down into the belly. And releasing, just start unhooking from yesterday, from today, from tomorrow. Breathing in, drawing in those lines of connection, coming into wholeness of self, fully present. Exhaling, releasing your hooks of expectation that keep you pulled out, stretched out. Breathing in this present moment, present awareness. And exhaling, just releasing even more from yesterday, from all the past days, just unhooking. And I want you to start feeling that heart chakra opening up, inviting Gaia to come into the vessel through the root, inviting her to support you, asking for her assistance, feeling that frequency resonance that she's got going right now, feeling that come up through the vessel as your body grounds more deeply, more completely. And I want you to start imagining that each and every cell in your body, there's a few trillion cells, that each one of them is grounding. Each one is its whole own individual entity with all of its own organs and fluids and systems. Feel each individual cell grounding. until you can feel the heart chakra in each cell opening and expanding. Feel the difference? Good. Now we're going to open up that crown chakra. Just allow it to blossom open. Feeling how it already is because it's full of this Gaia energy. And inviting Source to come down, our highest of selves, where we individuated and divided off from that infinite consciousness, that highest of self-alignment, coming down into the vessel. Bringing that frequency down in through every cell. Feeling the crown of every cell opening. Like a billion, trillion little flowers blossoming and opening. Good. And inviting Source to come in and align us into our highest of selves that we're capable of holding in this density, in this expression. Good. Beautiful, you guys. So good. Now I want you to visualize, using this mirror if you need to help support you. Visualize your two polarities, just like you had two magnets, one representing South Pole or negative orientation, one representing North Pole or positive orientation, one being a service to self, one being a service to others. See these two magnets of the self. Visualize them as though they're on a great big playing field, a cosmic playing field. Good. Now see how that field is shrinking. The whole game board is shrinking down, coming down, shrinking. And as it shrinks down, and there's nowhere else for these magnets to push apart from each other, don't force them, just allow it. And feel within the self all the parts of the self that resist the coming together of these two polarities, that resist the idea that it's even possible for them to coexist within the same space. As you start to see the beliefs, see the ideas, let them play out on the mirror of what it is, that who it is, and what parts of yourself is it that believe this is not even possible. That it's impossible for the self to exist with both negative and positive, fully balanced inside the self. Feel in the vessel where it's expressing as resistance or blockage. If there's pains or aches or tightness, or in the life where there's relationships that are resisting this, where you want to only be good, or you want it to only be positive, or you want it to be the best, or where you feel like it's impossible to make it better. It has to be as bad and negative as it seems. It can never get any better. Just observe, using the mirror, to really look at it as though it's someone else's life. Because it's so much easier to see that way. seeing that game board continuing to shrink. And now those two magnets are almost touching. See the resistance, the force building up there, the energy, that stored kinetic energy that's just waiting to be applied. Notice how what's coming up now are these major block ideas, concepts that could not possibly ever be surmounted, that are things that you've had to just accept, that are the darkest parts of your life, things that you will never be able to change, things that you cannot possibly imagine being different. Perhaps it's that you will always be in debt. Perhaps it's that you will lose everything that matters to you. Perhaps it's a belief that you will never, ever truly be loved or held. Whatever that belief may be, that is the biggest limitation for you, for stepping into what you came here to be. Perhaps for me, I could never stand in my full power. I can never be that person. I'm not that strong, right? We're going to start applying these beliefs to this field of energy, just like we're dropping little coins into the field of energy. And we're going to allow magic to happen. We're not going to tell it what to become. We're going to allow it to just be transmuted. As those magnets come even more close together, that game board is shrinking. It's only the size of the two magnets now, and they're touching. We're going to continue to allow them to come together, finding other resistance within ourselves, allowing this energy of force and change to transmute these things, these beliefs, until those two magnets are one right on top of the other, one right within the other. Ground. If you're feeling nausea, feeling a sense of discomfort, let Gaia support you as she helps you in this transition. Ask her to help support you and recognize this is a personal power problem if it's in the nausea center. Yeah. So imagine a yellow ray of light shining down upon you, shining down upon your full midsection, empowering you. And now we're going to bring those magnets fully into singularity, positively and negatively charged, coexisting in one single space where magic is happening. And now I want you to open up your heart chakras and let your magical energy radiate out of your heart and flow out amongst the web so that all the rest of the humans in this creation who are struggling, who can't possibly believe in their own magic, can get a dose of yours. Let's send this out into the web. Shine as bright as you can. If you need to adjust the body, clear things from the throat, move joints, do so. These are releasing these blocks, these bits that have held us in place. Good. Wow, you guys, that feels amazing. Beautiful work, you guys. I didn't think this would take all the way up to 11. I felt like we probably wouldn't go that long. So I want you to continue shining this light out for as long as you feel drawn to. Stay in this place for as long as you feel drawn. I love you guys. I am so proud of you. It is such an honor to show up with you today, to show up in this space with you. And I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll do question and answers, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have to share about your meditation experiences from this week. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.